Yo, what's up, you guys? So today, making a very late January and February reading wrap up. Um, so I was just gonna put January and February together just because honestly, all of January, I was pretty much just focusing on finishing Infinite Jest. But I got a lot of reading done as soon as I finished Infinite Jest because I love that book and and I still think about it so much. But I was so excited to read something different. So for January and February, I read 9 books, which for me is pretty good. There's a car alarm going on outside. Hopefully the microphone's blocking it. But the 9 books was pretty good for me for January and February, especially considering most of those books were in February. It's now the 14th of March, so I did wait quite a while to film this, and I have finished a couple other ones, but I'll save those ones. I'll do a dedicated March wrap up. But let's get right into it. I wrote a couple notes down on my super note. So the first book I finished in January was The Stranger by Albert Camus. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too bad. And if you speak French, please don't cringe at me. But this book was it's one of those books where I feel it's so that's just all over the place, and it almost gives it like a certain stigma to me, to where I was kind of like a little bit turned off to reading it. But it's nonetheless, I feel like it's still a classic at the end of the day, so obviously it's popular for a reason. And especially because I'm working on expanding my area of knowledge in regards to like philosophy and everything. So I've talked about it a lot. Stoicism, looked a lot into that. Um, so now more looking into more absurdism, existentialism, like all those different fields. Uh, it does give you like a lot of different perspectives when you're looking into so many different philosophies. Just because at the end of the day, whatever philosophy, all philosophies have the same goal, and it's to live your life to the best you can, feel fulfilled and be happy. But they're all just going down different paths to get to the same point. And just like learning to take what I like from each one and what relates to me just in this season of my life. But to actually get into the book itself, I feel like it is easy to kind of get sucked into the mindset of the main character, and at first kind of be like almost a little bit like horrified at his like just apathy towards life and indifference to everything that goes on and happens to him. But I feel like if you go into this book taking it as more of a warning, um, against just pure absurdist or almost nihilistic thought, this I feel like is Camus' way of showing what an absurdist without rebellion would be like. And by that, I mean, Camus always talks about how, like in another book that will be in my March reading wrap up, like the myth of Sisyphus, like he's rolling a boulder up a hill over and over and over again. But it's important to imagine Sisyphus being happy, and it relates to ourselves in our life, because even if things are random, even if things don't have any meaning, even if things just happen for no apparent reason, just to pretty much stick it to the universe, you just have to go through it anyways, and find things that bring you as an individual meaning, anyways, despite the fact that none of it really matters or is calculated at all. So I feel like this is just a warning against it. But the book is very short, very endearing, and I actually really like this. This is the first Camus book that I've read. Um, I've read two now, but very enjoyable. And I almost forgot. Y'all must have thought I forgot the ceremonial Diet Coke. Anyways, next book, Slaughterhouse 5. So this is a book I actually um, have seen more than I've heard about it. I've seen it at a lot of bookstores, um, and it's funny because I started seeing it physically in bookstores a lot, and then I started hearing about it a lot, and so I started to crack it open. I really did not know kind of what to expect out of this book. Um, I had like a vague idea that it was like an anti-war book, but that was like essentially pretty much all I knew. It was it was a fairly quick read, just because like the pages, like I feel like the text is so big and spaced apart, the margins are so wide. It was a fairly quick book. It was very whimsical. It was pretty funny. It was like one of those books that I mean I wasn't like physically laughing out loud, but you just gave a little, you just kind of breathe a little bit more intentionally. But like I said, it's like an anti-war book, but I feel like it, for myself, if I wasn't already previously aware of that, um, it probably would have been pretty easy for me to miss that message. My favorite part of the book, though, was the saying "as it goes." So pretty much, uh, without giving too much away, there's like these like time traveling beings that see time in a way different way than we do, because we kind of see it more linearly. So we see it last year, last week, last month, yesterday, today, tomorrow, 2 years, where these beings kind of see everything more on like on a spectrum of sorts. So they could kind of see the beginning, middle, and end, but it's not really like linearly. They kind of see it all at once. And so like it's like when you're kind of like when you're describing a movie and you kind of say like, oh, that's how it goes. That's kind of how they're describing life, because they don't really see it as like living and dying. It's just like all just happening. And that was kind of like my favorite part of the book. Um, Other than that, though, it was pretty enjoyable. It was definitely worth the read. Next book, Animal Farm by George Orwell. Another very popular book. Um, this one, I mean, I was meaning to read it, but my girlfriend definitely, um, she encouraged me a lot to read this one, just because she liked it so much. And honestly, she like rightfully so. Like she's always giving me some bangers to read. Honestly, but other than that, like I just like love like how like the shape of this book. It's like I like the skinniness of it, and I don't know. I don't know why I just love the shape, but this book was just a very good allegory of totalitarian governments and how one group will abuse their power to take advantage of like lower classes and kind of weaponize um, the lack of education that the lower class had in time in I believe in Russia with Stalin. Don't quote me on that, but I believe I kind of had to look into the context a little bit after I read it. But definitely a must read, especially like I feel like today. It's super short. I think I read this in like a day at work. But yeah, and the closing scene, just like visualizing in my head, it's kind of freaky almost. I'm not gonna lie, but no, this book was so sick. All right, the next book I finished, Infinite Jest. This fucking beast of a book. honestly, I just posted a 30-minute video about this book, so I'm not gonna get too much into it. But 5-star read. Absolutely love this book. I still think about it every day, and it's honestly kind of like mind altering. Like I feel like my brain chemistry is different after reading this. But don't get one thing I will say: don't be intimidated by the size of it. Um, just take it page by page and take your time with it. Don't skip footnotes. Read this book at some point in your life. That's all I will say. If you want to hear more about it, go just click on my channel. It was the video I posted right before this. And fuck it. I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, Infinite Jest. Next book I read was White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It is actually a collection of 3 short stories. Um, I really just wanted a copy of White Nights because it's so hyped up. And I wanted to read it, but I couldn't find a singular copy, and I hate ordering shit online. So I just ended up buying this one because White Nights is included in here. Honestly, this might be a hot take, but I was a little bit disappointed by it. It was just so hyped up, and like I really wanted something to I just really wanted the story to feel like sad, full of emotion, yearning, and just like a complicated like love story. But honestly, I didn't get that from here. Like the whole time I was just kind of like thinking like towards the main character, like, bro, like had like I get it, but first of all, you barely know this girl, and like she's telling you all this stuff. So how did you not see that coming? Like you're just like you're dumb, bro. So I honestly that's probably a hot take. Please don't attack me, but I was not the biggest fan of White Knights. But I just finished Crime and Punishment, so that's also gonna be my March wrap up. But Crime and Punishment might be my favorite classic I've read. It's fucking good. Um, but I mean, also granted, the only Dostoevsky books I've read are White Knights and Crime and Punishment. So I mean, I don't know if you can see up here, but I also have the Brothers Karamazov, um, the Idiot, just started Notes from Underground. So we'll see how all the books end up stacking up against each other. But so far, yeah, sorry. All right, next book that I read, Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. Holy shit, I fucking loved this book. This book was this book was everything I was looking for in White Knights. It was so full of emotion. It was heartbreaking, yearning, just wanting something so bad that you can't have, and just like things possibly could have ended up working out for you, but just like so many moving pieces that just like stop things from working out. And this book was just like so sad. Um, yeah, like it was. Yeah, I just absolutely love this book. 5-star read, amazing. You have to read this. Now another maybe hot take, Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. Um, honestly, another book that I read because it's very hyped up, but I did not love this book at all. This this is actually the first 1-star review I've ever gave on Goodreads. The only thing that really kind of kept me flipping through it and not just putting it back on the shelf is just the characters and some of the action scenes and just like hoping I would start liking it. But just the language that I mean, granted, it's also like an old western, which I'm not really a fan of western style books, anyways. So that could also play a part in it. But it's the language in it. It was I found it like not very like it's approachable. You can read it, but it's not enjoyable, I would say. But yeah, I'm sorry if you are a Blood Meridian lover, but I did not love this, and I saw a lot of that drama regarding Cormac McCarthy, which I'm not gonna get into. But after seeing that, I don't feel so bad about not liking this book. The next book, Normal People by Sally Rooney. Um, this is actually I actually heard about the show first, but I've never watched it. And as of recently, I've seen this book circulating a lot. Um, and so I decided to kind of read it because it sounded interesting. And honestly, I did actually very much enjoy it. It just gave like a very good example of how transactional like modern relationships can kind of be. And it also kind of shows like how like especially like in our younger years, um, like our need for a sense of belonging and friendship can kind of inhibit us from getting the things that we want or the things that we know make us happy just because we care too much about what other people may think about it. And yeah, it's just like I mean, I don't I don't experience this personally, but like I feel like so many people that I know, like when they talk about like certain relationships or situationships or whatever it may be, it's just like so frustrating because it's like, what's wrong with you? Like why are you dealing with what they're doing and why are you doing that? And that's all this book felt like. Cause this whole time, it's like you guys would be so good for each other if you guys both just dropped your freaking red flags that you guys have. And um, and yeah, but very good book. Um, Ending was interesting. So I don't know if Sally Rooney was just leaving more so leaving the ending for interpretation or leaving it open for a part two. So I don't know, but I actually really like this book too. I kind of didn't expect to, but I really liked it. And the last book on the list, Existentialism is a Humanism by Jean Paul Sartre or Sartre. Um, but this one, it's very little, very small, but it actually did take me a while to finish it. There's just so much to unpack, and it's so very like thought provoking. And like essentially what it is just a defense of existentialism because I feel like I mean maybe more so at the time that this was kind of circulating, but like I feel like existentialism is viewed like in a negative light, and so I feel like it's more so defending the philosophy of it. I feel like even I feel like it is looked at in a negative light just because it is kind of scary to people that just knowing the fact that there is no purpose to anything, but it's up to you to give yourself purpose and meaning. And it just puts more of the responsibility to give life meaning on the individual rather than just simply kind of basing it all on like a higher power. And so the thought of it is very scary, but I feel like Sartre gives like a very good defense of it and very much so empowers the individual. This was something that was kind of unknown to me, but he displays kind of like the counter arguments or kind of just like the different viewpoints of like different existentialists. So there's like the religious like Christian existentialists, which is more of kind of obviously having to do with God, but pretty much saying God, like if there is a God, he created man with like a purpose, like using their its divine knowledge, and he compared it to like someone like making a knife. So before the knife is even created, there is a use that the knife is gonna be put towards. And so like it compared to man, so like there's a essence, there's a purpose, and then man is created for that purpose. And then as opposed to the atheistic existentialist, um, he's of like just like this saying really popped out of my head, but um, existence precedes essence. So essentially saying that people are born and they gain consciousness obviously at a certain age, and once you like encounter yourself, then that's when the essence comes about, and then that's the point where you define yourself and your purpose on the earth. And so obviously there's way more to it. That was a very crude description of it, but um very thought provoking. Uh it's more of like, I would say, like essay style. So like there's multiple different parts to it. So like like the beginning sections are um just like the defense of existentialism, and then there is a portion where it's I believe like just like the written notes from like a Q&A portion between Sartre and I believe it was like a journalist or another philosopher, and then the ending, a commentary on The Stranger by Camus. But definitely worth the read, especially if you want something to make you question your life. But love this one. I also really like the cover. I really like the cover. But that is it for me today. March, March. We're already halfway through freaking March, so I already have a couple books lined up. Um, I will do an individual March reading wrap up. No promises though. Time to put these books back on my shelf, and yeah, and then just wanted to make a quick note. I do have a blog that I used to write on it a lot, but I'm gonna start writing on it a lot more again. So if you're interested in reading what I have to say, I'll link that below. And also, my Goodreads, I do keep that fairly updated. So if you want to keep up with that, you can check that out as well. But other than that, um, we'll talk to each other soon, I guess.